Hi, students. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you can see the screen, students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if the screen is visible from your end? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, students. So, students, today we are going to do the predictions and summarization of our pre-seen material. And students, just for information, this is just a pre-seen based data analysis only. Examination, they can give you any type of data. Just keep that in mind. Students, can I get a confirmation once again that the informations are clear for you all at the moment? Thank you. Now, students, if you observe, one thing we have is called revenue stream. One thing we have is called what, students? Revenue stream. Because if you observe, every business should be aware about two things for be successful. One is revenue stream, and the other one is the cost structures. Because cost structures and revenue streams are eventually important for a business to do well in the market. So, students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood that perspective? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Now, students, if you observe, what is our major revenue? It is LEO satellites, right? That is the lower Earth satellites we develop. Lower Earth satellites, correct, no, students? The LEO satellites we develop. The LEO satellites we develop. Now, students, for your understanding, if you observe, the capacity is 1 kg, the small one, and also it can go up to 75 kg. This is the data we have. And then students, we say we have full service, but we don't have rocket launching. But we have a ground station which provides the data with regards to the information of the satellite, where it is traveling, where it is in the orbit. And then students, there is something called the satellite constellation. The satellite constellation means, students, in that case, the satellites are connecting to each other and sharing the radar data that is also there. And the sizes of our satellite is 3U, and then we have 6U, and then we have 12U. So these are our sizes also. Students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you get the clarity behind this revenue stream, students? I believe this has a better application at the moment. Can I quickly get a double Y here? So this is our revenue stream at the moment, what we do to earn money. Other than this, we do not have much revenue, students, for your information. Now, let's go through the cost structure, students, because that is also very, very important for us. Now, if you observe the cost structure, students, one is the engineer's cost. Because students, engineers cost is very critical because they are technological staff, students. So we can't replace them because their knowledge is very, very important. And then students, we have the workshop cost. Correct, no, students? We have the workshop cost also because we have to produce this. Then students, other overheads we have, specifically the staff cost and the rent and the maintenance, utilities and maintenance. So in that case, students, you have got the clarity with regards to these aspects: engineering cost, workshop cost, overhead and the staff cost, rental cost, and the utility cost also. And the next thing, students, just for your ideation, can be a governance cost. Example, we are a listed company. So we have governance cost, like audit is a compulsory cost, correct, no, students? And then students, financial reporting will be a compulsory cost, correct, no, students? So these are the compulsory cost we have. AGM cost is also there. Annual general meeting cost are also there. So students, these are our cost structure at the moment. And then students, we may have legal cost also. Example, students, approval of license for satellites. Because students, we cannot deliver satellites as we think because we have to get the license also. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box? So did you understand one thing? Our business is not easy as we think. Our business is not easy as we think, students, because it's a capital investment type of a projects what we do, and it takes a lot of time. And also, students, we have to manage our fund flow properly. And one thing, students, just for information, I'll just write down with a different color pen. The gearing ratio of our company is eventually 50 point odd. It has exceeded the 50%. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood that gearing ratio, students? Because you have to be very, very, very careful, because if you observe, this business has a liquidation risk. Anytime this business can close down. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students? Anytime this business can close down. Anytime this business can close down, because liquidation risk is very, 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 very higher in this case. Now, students, the next thing what we have to do is the revenue breakdown. One thing is called the customer segments. We have to be aware for whom are we providing the services. Generally, it is corporates only. We are not doing services for consumers. We are doing for corporates. And corporates can be, students, TV. TV channels can be a corporation. And then, students, we can also say another one is telecommunication. Students, telecommunication. Telecommunication is also one more thing for your understanding. And then, students, farmers, can you remember, students, farmers they mentioned? At the moment, we don't know, but these are the potential farmers. Then, students, weather forecast is also there. No, students, weather forecast. Then, students, airlines, because airlines also need to know the navigation part. And then, students, very openly, we can also say airlines. And then, students, naval base organization, naval base organization, plus military also can take place. And then, students, private security organization also can have it, students, just for your understanding and the clarity. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? I believe that is clear for you. And one thing I just missed out was space junk cost. Space junk cost. Because, students, just remember one thing, these electronic items in the space, once they become obsolete, they will be in the space. So it becomes a space junk also. That means it will not add value anything, but it will just be in the space also for your understanding. Now, the next thing is, students, customer activity. The next thing is what, students? Customer activities. Now, if you observe customer activities, what I have to eventually say is, students, one is called continuous service, because they are giving the continuous service, because ground working is there, okay, ground station is there. So continuous service is one factor to be considered. And then, students, consultation is also there. Then we have the quality assurance is also there at the moment. So in that case, students, these are the custom activities we provide at the moment. Then we have something called, students, the sales channel. What is the next one, students? The sales channel. How are we eventually selling our product to the market? One is word of mouth, students. One is word of mouth, because our clients will already know us. The other one is tenders, students, tenders. And the other one is past clients, because past clients also will be there at the moment. So these are the sales channels we have. Now, the next thing, students, is something called the key partners, because with whom are we eventually working? One thing, students, rocket launches, because do we have a rocket launching function at the moment? No. So we have to be very strong with them, because they are the rocket launchers, very, very important. Then our client, students, we have to consider our customers more like our client. We have to give them the best, whatever we can do for them. And then, students, we have something called the staffs. We have something called the staffs. And then, students, we have something called the engineers. And then we have the research and development, correct, no, students, research and what, students? Development. And then, students, we have governance partners, government. Because why I'm saying government is space junk charter, students. They have introduced a space junk act. So in that case, we have to manage the government also properly. Then, students, key activities. Again, students, our key activities are LEO satellites only, students. We are not going for anything bigger at the moment. We are only going for LEO satellites at the moment. And students, what I will eventually write down is, students, just for your understanding, it has a full service. It has full service. And the other thing is, students, we also provide consultation at the moment. That is the key activities we eventually do from our manufacturing or the cost side. Then the key resources we have, students, just for your understanding, workshops. We have workshops, it's very critical. And then, students, we have ground stations to monitor the progression of the satellites. And then students, we have engineers because they are our key resources. And then students, we may have intellectual property also, students, like satellite registration, everything is intellectual properties, which is very, very, very important, students, because we have to make sure this is not related to any terrorist organization, something like that. Students, one thing, when it comes to the risk, students, do we have anything like, one thing is like terrorist, can they hack our satellites? Possible, students, keep that in mind. Terrorist can attack our satellites and create control. The other one is value proposition. What are our differentiating factors? One is, students, physical evidence. 64 satellites have been sold in the market. Correct, no, students? And then we have something called zero defects to date. Zero defects to date. And the another thing is, students, clear focus, clear focus on LEO satellites. Clear focus on LEO satellites. That means we have positioned ourselves very clear to the LEO satellites. Students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box if you understood the structurization, what we have eventually considered from the pre-seen material? These are the summary of the pre-seen material considering our organization. Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, students. But are you getting the clarity with regards to the strategic canvas, what has been mentioned here, students? Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you can observe the strategic canvas as per the pre-seen material? Now, what I will do is, students, I will change the color of the ink to blue color. Okay, students, I'll change the color of the ink to blue color. Now, let's go to the potential. Potential means what can be done in the future. The other one is, students, mid, okay, mid MEO satellites. We can go to MEO satellites. Correct, no, students? We can go to MEO satellites. I'll just make sure the color becomes better off of blue. This will be a better blue. MEO satellites, that is the medium. And then, students, we can also go for the geo satellites also. Geo satellites also. We can go to that also, students, for your understanding. LEO satellites and also the geo satellites. These are the futuristic point. And also, students, MSc degrees. Students, can you remember MSc degrees also there? And then, students, junk management services. We can also go for junk management services. Correct, no, students? That means space junk. That means purely focusing on what, students? The space junk. So can I just write down here? Space junk. And then, students, we have other factors to be considered. LEO, GEO, MSc degrees, junk and rocket launches. We can eventually take over a rocket launcher organization, and we can also start producing rocket launches. And then, students, backward integration. We can eventually purchase the raw materials from buying products from the other people also. MEO ratio is less medium. It's medium. So these are the potential factors, students. Okay. LEO, MEO, that is lower orbit, and then, students, medium echo orbit, and the other one is the geo. Okay, so, students, these are the potential revenue streams we have at the moment. So we can do these factors also. And if you see in the long run, students, the cost structures, okay, students, what can happen is new acquisitions can take place. Okay, no, students, and then automations can take place. So I'll just write down here, automations can come into the system. Digital strategy, we can eventually make like digital strategy for an organization and make sure the costs are also properly managed. And then the customer segments, here we have mentioned these things. But in the future, students, we can eventually go for university for training, because we can become a training partner for universities also. So, students, these are the functional things that we can eventually focus on. And one key partner that can come in this case is university. University is one key partner. And, students, one thing I just missed out was bank. Bank is also the key partner, because bank has eventually given us a 50% extra loan, which is above our financial capacity. Students, any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, students. So overall, this is our pre-seen material summary. Overall, this is our pre-seen material summary. Don't waste your time thinking too much about scientific evidences, anything. Just be very transparent. Yes, Alan.
Sir, could you just explain a little bit further on the bank point which you mentioned?
Yeah. If you observe, bank has given us 50% loan. You look at the ratio class, last class we did, our gearing ratio is 50%. So in that case, bank is also a key partner with our business because they have already given us capital, which is more than 50% of our organization. So they will be having a watch of our organization, what is happening. Is that clear? Yeah. So students, I believe that has given a better clarity because bank has become a key partner at the moment because we have borrowed lot of money because our competitor did not borrow a lot of money. So students, these are the ranges what can take place in the future. So just for your idea, students, one challenge is the green color. I'll just make this as a light green color. So this is revenue and this is, I'll make it as red color or the orange color. These are the costs. But if you see, our revenue is highly sensitive here. We are not getting sales like other companies. Here, our business project is going at 18 months. It will be 6 months in monthly basis. The contract base, we have to be very, very vigilant with those factors. And even if you observe in the exam day, there will be situation like our satellites getting hacked. That can come, students. So we will get prepared for all those situations and technically we will become stronger. But are you clear with all the summary of this? Because just remember, I'll highlight this, students. Gearing ratio is 50%. So bank has better influence. Are you understanding that perspective? Can you put a Y in the chat box, Alan, if you understood 50% gearing means your company has debt investment more than equity investment. That is the understanding at the moment. So it's a challenge for our business and we have to be very, very careful. Sometimes bank will come with covenants, debt covenants. They will say you can't pay dividends. Bank will introduce a rule, can't pay dividends. That can come. That then shareholders will become panicked. Share price will go down. Now, can I tell you why the stock market price has gone down? Can you all tell me, students, why the stock market price has eventually gone down for lithium or Leothayre? Now, see, we had a very good stock market price here, correct, no, students? Now it is come down. What is the reason, students? Gearing. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you understand why the collapse has taken place in the stock market prices? Because when you have more gearing, owners will not have an influence. Are you understanding what I'm saying, students? That Modigliani and Miller concept only, they are not testing that. But once the gearing reaches an optimum level, it becomes a risk to the business. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood the rationale why the share price has decreased a lot? Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? Are you understanding our company has financial risk? At the moment, our company has financial risk. Can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood the reason why the stock price is very, very, very low at the moment, students? Thank you. Students, question and answer session. From next week onwards, I will increase the hours since everything is properly aligned now. Abdul, any questions for the day? If no questions, you can put a Y in the chat box. Ellen, any questions for the day? Mr. Rahul, any questions for the day? Ms. Sunati, any questions for the day? A nanotechnology, pocket technology. I'll write that also. Thank you, Rahul. So I'll just mention the other one, nanotechnology and pocket satellite. Thank you very much for that. Nanotechnology, pocket satellite. But students very openly selling, we'll keep these things in our mind, but don't memorize all those things. They may not ask questions like recall and writing. It's more like thinking and writing, students. So thank you very much, students. We had a wonderful week this time. Overly, we have done all the full applications. And you know where we are as management accountants. Students, you are not engineers here. You may get a lot of materials in the internet with regards to satellites. Go through that, but don't waste time. That's the only request I'm telling. Time is valuable. Efficiently use it. Thank you, students. I will meet you on the Wednesday class. Have a wonderful evening, students. Thank you very much.